Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. First. Jack Paul, it's sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls-Royce, Fiat.
Well, we're hearing reports he's out there training with Usyk and the team, trying to pick up something, trying to rediscover something.
That's very strange, Paul.
It is, but it's not on air.
To feel what it's like to be in there with a big, strong, world-class heavyweight before the day, because I don't want him to get hit with the first jab and it's a whole new sensation. So, and you never know. You know, I think there's some game plans that he could cause a bit of a...
Oleksandr Usyk delivers a stunning prediction for the Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul showdown. He stresses that Joshua is an Olympic gold medalist and elite heavyweight, while Jake Paul remains, at his core, a showman and YouTube personality. Usyk compares the matchup to a Rolls-Royce racing a Fiat, highlighting the massive gulf in pedigree and skill.
Anthony Joshua won. Anthony killed this guy. Listen, a lot of questions, blah blah blah. Only one my answer. Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. First. Jack Paul, it's sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls-Royce, Fiat. Listen, it's true. Yeah, I'm not. Типа я не обзываюсь.
I'm have massively better money.
Yeah. It's just true. It's business, more money. Only this.
So Usyk expands on that gap, pointing to the years of experience, refined technique, and championship professionalism that separate Joshua from Paul. Despite calling it a mismatch, he adds that he will pray for Jake Paul ahead of the high-profile bout. A longtime friend and supporter of Joshua, Usyk speaks with unwavering confidence in AJ's discipline and preparation. Joshua's camp has been laser-focused, mixing technical drills, strength conditioning, and strategic sparring to ensure he can adapt to any unpredictable moments in the ring. Veteran trainers have been sharpening both offense and defense, ensuring Joshua maintains full control from the opening bell. Analysts note that even without using his full power, Joshua's skill alone poses a daunting challenge for any opponent, especially one as inexperienced as Jake Paul.
And the team trying to rediscover something.
That's very strange, Paul.
It is, but it's not on air. I've heard of a lot of fighters doing that. You see fighters, obviously, still Rocky movies years ago, but you see a fighter losing to someone, all of a sudden they go in the camp and they start training and doing little bits together and become friends or whatever else. I think it'll do Joshua no harm to have him, but as you say, he's a little bit long in the tooth and he's a bit on the back nine rather than the front nine, where that experience would really come into play. But I'm just looking at his record here. He obviously, after the Usyk fight, he'd come back and he had 3 fights and then the Ngannou demolition
Well, yeah,
job.
Jermaine Franklin, he had Robert Helene, he had Otto Wally, and he smashed Ngannou, which everyone went hallelujah for, right?
Yeah, but he's obviously not in like the box rec rankings to see where he is. But the Dubois fight is a fight where what you've just said then, Spencer, like match him right. I felt he was matched right with Dubois. That's just my opinion. Obviously, I was wrong on that, and I was proved wrong. But I felt like Joshua would have and should have came through that, but he obviously didn't. So therefore, it's back to the drawing board. And where do you go from there? What do you do from there? Does he keep the same team around him? Does he go and find someone new and try and adapt and add to his repertoire already? And this move at Usyk, I don't know what it'll be, but if he's fighting before Christmas, then he needs to get in shape quick, because there's only 8 weeks to go, let's say.
Well, my understanding, he's in camp, he's in shape, and just looking to getting out and get back to winning ways, is my understanding. That's why they're talking about 8-rounders.
Yeah.
He wants to sort of go under the radar a little bit, and it's difficult for someone like Anthony Joshua because he's such a commercial commodity.
He's always been in shape all the time, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He always will be in shape. He's never, ever not been...
But it's not about his physical shape, is it? No one's ever questioned his physical state. Zach, when I was talking about Anthony Joshua, and I know that the president of his fan club is here in Spencer, but I talked about the PTSD issue post various fights, whether it be the Oleksandr Usyk or the Daniel Dubois situation. But prior to Daniel Dubois, I always maintained that I felt that despite the performance against Jermaine Franklin, despite the performance against Robert Helenius, which had been blasted out by Deontay Wilder.
Chael Sonnen, retired MMA fighter and outspoken analyst, weighs in on the broader implications. He states that Jake Paul's critics are about to witness the reality of stepping into the ring with a world-class boxer like Joshua. This fight, Sonnen argues, is more than entertainment, it's a test for the future of crossover boxing. How Paul performs will shape public perception of whether these influencer versus professional matchups deserve a place in the sport. To Sonnen, this moment is pivotal, potentially redefining what counts as a legitimate challenge in modern boxing.
For Jake Paul to do this, as well as for Joshua. You know, this isn't Joshua's first time doing a spoof fight. He fought Francis, that was a spoof fight. Francis had never won boxing before, but we understood he has fought before. It was one of those things where when you got through it, like coming into the front side, I'm sure Anthony Joshua trained plenty hard for it. But coming out the back, he probably realized I didn't need to train for that at all. That was fun, that was a good time. I gotta hear him call my names, I gotta go out there, I gotta be light on my feet, I gotta lay on these combinations and then cut an interview and pump my hands over my shoulders like I accomplished something. What dreams are made of. And so Joshua did for those fights. It was with Francis, and this is a completely different kind of that type of fight, but it's still that fight nonetheless. Jake Paul has abilities to win this fight. A lot of them involve moral victories. A lot of them involve getting out of the first round. And a lot of them would involve getting out of the first 2 rounds and haven't been knocked down yet. One would be getting out of the 3rd round, you've only been on the canvas once and you got up to your feet, you shook it off and you're ready to keep going. Like, these things are all victories, but the fight that it's going to happen, I think it's a big deal for Jake Paul. I think it's a big deal for everybody involved. I think it's a big deal that Francis looks at that fight and realizes, oh, these things make sense. These things that make dollars, they make sense. That's his business. This was his opportunity that he missed out on. And now Joshua's gonna have a lot of fun. And overall, I see the fight being one-sided. And people keep saying, well, slow down.
Broadcasters Adam Catterall and Nick Peet share their thoughts after the official announcement. While the spectacle has drawn massive hype, they stress that the fighters must approach the matchup with genuine professionalism. Reports even suggest Joshua intends to dial down the power, choosing control over pure aggression. Catterall and Peet highlight the delicate balance. Jake Paul gains huge exposure and valuable experience, while Joshua must ensure the fight stays credible, safe, and grounded in the sport's traditions. Both athletes carry the responsibility of navigating the line between entertainment and authentic competition.
From those people that this is a fully professional boxing contest. I'd like to see the small print, to be totally honest with you. But that's what we're being told. We're being told that it's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. We're being told that they're going to use 10-ounce gloves, which are far too fucking small for Anthony Joshua to hit you in the face with when you're there. Listen, Jake's a good novice. Jake's a good novice.
Oh, yeah.
And if he wanted to have a legitimate career in boxing, then he would climb the domestic rankings in America, and he might even make top 50. He might make top 50 if you pick him right, great. But if you put him in with meritocracy and put him in rankings and actually make him fight the number 49 guy in America or try and climb up, he's going to get found out because he's a nutter novice. Now I speak from experience here. I did an exhibition bout with Shane Neary, a former world champion, and I was fucking 2 or 3 stone bigger than him. I was 5 inches bigger than him, very similar to AJ and Jake Paul. And I was a novice. I'd boxed, sparred and moved around me all life, but I'd never been in a competitive fight. And we did it for charity. And we did 3 rounds, and at the end of it, I realised, and I knew it going in, that Shane Neary controlled pretty much every second of those 3 minutes. Pretty much every second he controlled. He put the pressure on me in 1 round, he hit me with the body shot in the 2nd round, and he caught everything I threw at him in the 3rd round when he said, go on, try and knock me out. Caught everything. And, you know, in a similar vein, Anthony Joshua.
Former UFC fighter and media personality Brendan Schaub focuses on Joshua's mindset. Schaub and others believe Joshua doesn't view this bout as a critical test in the traditional sense because he's already proven himself at the highest level. This isn't disrespect toward Paul, but rather Joshua's awareness of proportional risk. By avoiding unnecessary aggression and staying composed, he can protect his long-term career while still delivering a memorable event for fans.
That Anthony Joshua's not taking this real, and he's not putting his best performance forward. That's the issue. The issue is Anthony's like, how much you gonna pay me? It's on Netflix? Hold up, I can fight this guy who, you know, when I was an amateur teenager, I fought better guys. And I have how much weight on him? I can fight him for how much money? dude, I'll beat him in my sleep. Correct, and you should. And it's such a disservice to the sport of boxing and to the actual fans of boxing if Anthony Joshua doesn't go out there and absolutely dominate Jake Paul. If it goes to decision, if it goes past 6 rounds, Houston, we have a problem. Boxing, we have a problem. And now, people are going, where was this energy with Gervonta Davis? Different. You're talking about a very, very small guy. I've worked with Gervonta. He's fucking tiny. And size can overshadow a lot of that stuff. I still think Gervonta should still win that fight, and the body shots, if he's taking it seriously, that should have got the job done. But obviously he has his legal issues, and that went out the window. But when you're talking about an actual world-class heavyweight who went toe-to-toe with Klitschko, with fucking all these bad boys, if Anthony Joshua takes this serious, as he should, this shouldn't even be a competition, and it's brilliant. Because for Jake, okay, cool, man. Got knocked out by one of the best to ever do it, or got finished by one of the best to do it. At least I got in there. And I'm not even a heavyweight. I'm a cruiserweight at best. Either I'm too light in the ass for that. I should be fighting down. He's shooting for the moon. He's going to land on the stars. And just to be absolutely clear,
Professional boxer Lawrence Oakley offers a more tactical angle. He advises that Jake Paul should spar extensively with veteran professionals to prepare for the physicality Joshua brings. Yet he also notes that Joshua rarely chases fast knockouts. Instead, AJ relies on strategy, pacing, and calculated pressure, controlling the rhythm of the fight while staying calm. Oakley reminds audiences that what looks like a simple matchup on the surface is layered with tactical nuance.
Just coming through, look what I've got from this. So you tell me now, in terms of a game plan, what you think.
There's 3 I see. One of which is, bear in mind, AJ is not I'm gonna come out and get this over in 1 round kind of guy. He does do it, don't get me wrong, but that's based off of other people's work. So when you see AJ versus Ngannou and him were having a fight before AJ started landing the great right hands off of Ngannou going southpaw. I don't think AJ's first instinct is to go in and go double jump, uppercut, left hook to the foot, and rip into people. He likes to box. He's a natural boxer. So I think he's gonna be just going through stuff. He hasn't been in the ring for over a year. He's gonna be, popping jabs, slipping, showing a bit of skill.
Legendary ring announcer Michael Buffer gives his perspective on the Paul brothers' impact on modern boxing. He credits Jake and Logan for injecting new energy into the sport, drawing in younger fans who might never have watched boxing otherwise. Their talent for storytelling, viral promotion, and massive event building has grown the sport's reach. While purists remain skeptical, Buffer believes their influence has ultimately benefited boxing, creating new opportunities for fighters and expanding mainstream interest.
Are fantastic athletes. What Logan does with the WWE and what Jake does with boxing, he knocks people out and everything. And they both have massive fan bases. And for me, it's great to see people get young people that follow them that didn't have they don't remember Ali or Joe Frazier or whatever. It's not in their wheelhouse. So it's great to see them developing fight fans and a big fight atmosphere. So it's very exciting.
These two stood face to face, and the comment section on the internet was going crazy. They were like, call the ambulance now, basically. Like Anthony Joshua looks dangerous standing next to him.
Anthony Joshua is, at this time, and has been for years, the biggest puncher in boxing. He's a devastating puncher. So I got to give Jake a lot of credit for wanting to take this fight.
Yeah, it's not. A lot of people say it's not smart. If he somehow was able to surprise the world, what does this do for him?
The word would be surprise. It would be shock the world. But that's exactly why you got to give him credit. He wants to do it. He trains hard. He works hard, and he has a lot of faith in himself. So we'll see what happens.
Technically, though, what's the biggest concern for you what's the biggest tip you can give Jake, knowing that you've watched Anthony so many times dominate people?
Professional boxer Liam Cameron weighs in on fan expectations. Most spectators assume Joshua will dominate because of his Olympic background and professional resume. Some fans even expect a one-sided spectacle and admit they enjoy the drama of such mismatched moments. But this public perception places pressure on Jake Paul to show resilience, adaptability, and character in the ring. Cameron emphasizes that audience psychology heavily shapes crossover events, from marketing strategies to fighter mindset.
But big props to that Jake Paul for gaining ring win. Listen to this, he's a multi-millionaire. Multi-millionaire, don't have to box. And he's fighting him. He's either a madman or he knows something we don't know. But people like saying, oh, I would take this Jake Paul fight. Listen, every boxer on the planet would fight Jake Paul for money. I'd fight Anthony Joshua for money. We'll get flattened, but I'd fight him. So yeah, I think people sometimes have to watch what they say.
Boxing analyst Joey Knight issues one of the strongest warnings about Jake Paul's motivations. He suggests Paul is driven more by viral attention and the spectacle surrounding the event than by traditional professional ambition. This doesn't diminish Paul's preparation, but it highlights the contrast between the two fighters. Joshua seeks legacy and mastery, while Paul seeks exposure and momentum. That contrast adds intrigue and complexity to the narrative of the fight.
And can still have a serious chance of going on to earn even more paydays, whereas the damage that it could do to his body could be irreversible for that opportunity to earn money in a boxing career going forward. So is this the retirement bag, or do you actually think you can win? Because I read a study recently, and I believe it said something along the lines of men overemphasize or overcalculate their ability to fight by about 500 times. And I'm saying Jake Paul would probably need to be 500 times better to stand a chance against Anthony Joshua. And I can't get how he doesn't already know this. Surely he has sparred with heavyweights. Surely the recent sparring that he had with the likes of Shakur Stevenson and with the likes of Ray Ford, amongst others, Badu Jack, surely that would have taught you that there are levels to boxing. And if these small guys are able to show you things that you had no idea that you were vulnerable to in a boxing ring, what happens when someone who hits 4, 5, 6 times as hard as that does the exact same thing to you and lands it on your chin? The whole reason of why I know where I am in the influencer boxing scene, in the misfit scene, is because of the level that I have sparred at. I've sparred boys that have gone on to box for world titles. I've sparred with English champions, and I've sparred...
And that wraps up today's breakdown. Stay tuned for the next update.